Hi everyone, good afternoon, and welcome all of you to vase.ai fireside chat today. So my name is Julie. I'm the co-founder of vase.ai. Just for a quick introduction for those of you who join our webinar for the first time, vase.ai is a consumer research platform where you can ask a question to our consumer and get back answer as fast as 24 hours. We currently have consumers across ASEAN region, and we serve startups like from Carson to enterprise companies like Gardenia. So on a monthly basis, we have a webinar that would touch on topics that marketers and product owners care about. For example, consumer trends, customer experience, creating advertisement, measuring their effectiveness. And today, our topic will be revolving around branding. So in our webinar, we like to be a bit more interactive. So from time to time, we're gonna ask all of you some questions on the go through the polling system. And throughout our discussion, if you have any questions, feel free to use the chat function or the Q&A functions. When you ask a question, it would be great to share which industry you're coming from so that we can give more relevant answers. And we'll try our best to cover all your questions. So before we invite our speaker, let's have a little bit of icebreaking. I would like to get to know a little bit more about our audience today, which is you. Can I know what's your current job positions in your company? We'll leave it for 30 seconds for everyone to answer. This allows us to know who we are speaking to today, although we cannot see each other physically. All right, let's see the answers. Okay, as expected, half of you are from marketing related positions. Great. And we have some from product related, research related positions as well, together with C-levels. Nice. Thank you for joining. Okay, just one more question for me to get to know you. Which industry are you coming from? So our title today is on how to lead FMCG brands. So I'm also curious, is it most of you coming from FMCG industry or also other industries as well? All right, let's see the answers. Cool. Okay. Oh, similarly, okay, half of you are from FMCG. Oh, there is also a big portion from agency and consulting. Awesome. Now, let me share with you about our speaker, Anthony. Anthony has 39 years of leadership experience in the FMCG industry and in building brands in Nestle Global HQ back in Switzerland. He has worked in Asia, Oceania, Africa, and Middle East regions. And I remember the first time I met our speaker, Anthony. He told me building brand is one of the most important things that a business can do. This weighs a lot to me because at that time, his position actually not just prioritizing on, not just on building brands, there's a lot more things to do. And he said that this is very important. So he told me that the brand itself is what sets the product and services apart from the competitions and is the key source to premiumizations. So I thought to myself, wow, well, more people should hear from Anthony and really would benefit from this topic. And so we invited him to share with us today on how he has led and built FMCG brands in Nestle over the years. And hello, Anthony. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hello, Julie. Hi. Hello, everyone. How are you doing?
Yes. So I believe, so I answer on behalf, I think we are all well. So before we start, Anthony, I want to ask you, have you eaten lunch?
No, I normally do not take lunch because my habit is I do not eat anything that is on 4 legs, and I do not eat anything that is on 2 legs. I eat only things, living things that have no legs.
Okay.
Fish, or things where have only 1 leg, plants, plant strong diet. That's my habit. to
Wow.
live healthier, longer lives.
Wow. From what I know about Anthony, you have also 30 plus experience in nutrition. And before we go into a whole seminar about nutrition, um, wow, let me get back this to the brand story. But after that, I think a lot of us in this pandemic era would actually be also interested in listening a lot more about health related topics.
That would be great. We can have a separate webinar for that. Health, nutrition, and wellness has been my hobby for 35 years of studying them. And in Nestle, we live by nutrition, health, and wellness.
Oh. So talking about that, we understand that you have been in Nestle Global taking on different roles over
Yep.
39 years, right? Could you
Yes.
share with us a little bit so how does it actually all started? Like how does Nestle started in Switzerland and actually becoming today like the global leader in the F&B business?
Well, I'm very happy to be here with you all. Super excited to share with you on building successful brands. I love to help you all, people who live their dreams. And I love what I do. It's my oxygen. Certainly, I'll be very excited to share with you that in Nestle 39 years, my former job as VP in the global head office was to help CEOs in the markets and their leadership team to win in the marketplace and deliver our agreed targets. I'd like to share with you the Nestle story. The story of Nestle started in 1867. 1867. During the famine, during wars, and lack of food and proper nutrition, where hundreds of babies were dying due to malnutrition. And a pharmacist by the name of Henry Nestle wanted to save the lives of these babies dying of malnutrition, and he invented the first prepared infant cereals with a purpose to help save the lives of many babies who were dying out of lack of nutrition. His name, Nestle, in French means little bird's nest. That's why you see the Nestle logo of a bird's nest with a mother bird and two little birdies. The mother feeding the birdies with food, and that has been our logo tagline: good food, good life. And then from that infant cereals, we launched Nescafe in 1938, and fast forward 155 years later, today, Nestle is the world's largest food and beverage company, and we have over 2,000 brands worldwide, 2,000 brands, including your favorite Maggie, you and Maggie make tastier meal, Milo, energy to go further, with over 10,000 different products, 350,000 employees operating and selling in every country in the world. And our global HQ is still based in the small Swiss town of Vevey, and our sales was close to 95 billion Swiss franc last year. So what is our global impact? Every day, Nestle sells over 1 billion products worldwide. 1 billion products worldwide every day, covering every stages of life, from birth to old age, helping people care for themselves and their families. Nestle, good food, good life.
Wow, 2,000 brands. So I'm very curious. So Nestle started off in 18th century with a truly noble intentions, and now a lot of recent report shows that if you look at Fortune 500 companies, their lifespan of actually staying at Fortune 5 is getting shorter and shorter. But yet Nestle can actually be a global leader consistently. Right? Can you share with us like what do you think is like the secret or some key guiding principles that allows Nestle as a brand to actually outlast all these years?
Oh, certainly. Happy to do that. You can see at Nestle over 155 years, our guiding principle have remained the same. If I could just simplify it for you, we have three key principles. Number one, what is our purpose, our values? Number two, where we make impact. Number three, how we make impact for individuals and their families, for communities, and for our planet Earth. Yes, at Nestle, we build brands with purpose. And the Nestle purpose is enhancing the quality of life and contributing to a healthier future. Enhancing quality of life and contributing to a healthier future. Our values are rooted in one word, and the one word is called respect. Respect for individuals and families, respect for the communities, and respect for our planet Earth. And how do we make impact? We enable healthier lives. We conserve, care, steward resources for future generations. And how we make impact? We offer tastier and healthier choices to our consumers. We inspire people to lead healthier lives. And we promote gender equality, inclusiveness, diversity. That's why in the global office in Vevey, in our head office, we have more than 80 nationalities working there. And we care for the environment and future generation. We think long term when we build business values and we build societal values. And our mission is to be the recognized leader in nutrition, health, and wellness. The industry reference for financial performance, like last year, 2020, when all our competitors have a decline in their business globally, we were the only food and beverage company in the world to show a positive growth of nearly 5% organic growth worldwide. And we want to be trusted by all our stakeholders.
Right. Huh. So I can see there is a very clear purpose, very clear value, and you mentioned the third one is how do we make an impact. So before we hear deeper, I actually have a lot more questions for you. Before we hear that, I'm actually also interested to know among our audience, right? What stage is your business or what stage is your brand currently in? Could you share with us so we can, so me and Anthony, we will have a sort of an idea of where is your brand currently at? So we'll leave this for another 10 seconds. All right. Okay, let's see it. All right. So Anthony, just to share with you like the audience compositions, right? We see that currently roughly 37% of them has a new brand, which is sort of like less than 10 years old brand,
Yes.
whereby there is also 30% of them are having brands that is over 20 years old.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So just like you mentioned at Nestle, a lot of the keywords that I'm getting is focusing on building brands a lot with purpose, with values, with making very clear on what impact are we doing to individual, to family, and community, right? Could you share us a little bit more, some examples from your experience? So maybe the audience and I, we can actually distill it from experience.
Yeah, certainly I'll be happy to do that. Let me give you from my own experience very specific examples on how you build brands, whether they are young or old brands. The first example I'd like to give you is from my market visit to Japan, Hokkaido in the year 2014. I was with my colleagues, and when we were in the marketplace in Hokkaido, we realized that when we were visiting homes, uh, 42% of the household has only one person living. The partner have passed away. And today, do you know 45% of household in Japan is only one person living? It's either the husband or the wife, the other partner have passed away. And for us, that is a very important understanding of our key consumers. And we were wanting to make that understanding into an insight to grow our brand. And what is that? We started a campaign called Nestle Wellness Club, where we have team of doctors and dietitians to visit the homes of these elderly people. They are normally above 50, 60 years old, and have a look at their dietary intake, their physical activity each day, their brain exercise score that we conducted, and uploading their food by photograph every day to our dietitian and doctors. And we develop personalized matcha green tea for them. And this matcha green tea comes in capsules, which are dispensed by our Nescafe Dolce Gusto machine. So the matcha that they take 3 times a day contain all the nutritional needs personalized for each person. And that is the first health support system in Japan that we roll out to. And then these elderly folks, poor people said, well, I'm only one person. I love my dog. I love my cat. What if I pass away before my dog or my cat? Who is going to help look after my pets? And Nestle replied to them is, don't worry, when you're no longer here, Nestle will help to look after your pets. And we started a project called Nestle Pet Wellness Club in Japan under the Purina brand. That's why we call Purina Your Pets, Our Passion. And we developed the right food to take care of the health for their pets. And then we also discovered that a lot of them use Nescafe Dolce Gusto machine where they dispense the coffee. And many youngsters, they work in the cities and they leave their parents behind in the village and small towns. And we said, why don't you connect with your parents? Give them a call and ask them how they are doing in the village. Don't leave them alone. And we came up with an app based on a human truth, which is connection with your loved ones. We developed an app that we install into the Nescafe Dolce Gusto machine so that when their parents get up 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, they cannot sleep and they want to have their cup of Nescafe Dolce Gusto. The moment they press the cup to dispense the coffee, it will send a signal to the children's mobile phone to say, hey, your parents are now awake having their coffee. You want to talk to them now. It's a very simple app leveraging technology today, and they will pick the phone and call their mom, dad, how come you're not sleeping yet? Now it's only 3 in the morning or 4 in the morning. And that is how we show purpose. Our brands deliver purpose and respect for our key customers, making impact in Hokkaido, and then we grow that to the whole of Japan. So if you are in Japan today visiting home, you will see our Nescafe Dolce Gusto machine with this app connecting with their children at work. And we build healthier lives for them as well as for their pets. This is how in Nestle we build brands with purpose and brands with respect, values for the key consumers, making an impact in their lives, giving them healthier lives, and also healthier lives for the pets.
I find it amazing that there is actually, from your example itself, three innovative innovative actions that you all did actually based on one single insight, which is it started from finding out 45% of people living in Hokkaido actually living in a one-person household, and from that it actually spurred out into all this different support system on the family on their own to their pet and then to their children. That is a very interesting look at how you actually utilize one single insight. I think most of the people here, like the audience who join us today, would pretty much agree with us that brand building is important. But through my personal experience, I find that when I talk about brand per se, what is brand with different people, some people seems to have different definitions, and oftentimes, sometimes, what's the definition of a brand could get abstract. So, Anthony, I'm wondering, what's your view of a brand? Is it like, is it the logo, the tagline, or what it is itself that makes it so important to build a strong brand?
The logo, the tagline, the slogan, they are not the brand. They are all important parts of the brand identity, but they are not the brand. What is a brand? A brand is the total experience your consumers have with your company, your product, your services. And this experience, total experience, are partly rational, but mostly emotional experience. Emotional experience with your brand promise. Is it promise you made, and is it promise you are keeping? And why is the brand so important? In my view, a brand is the most valuable asset to a company. Like Coca-Cola Company, the total market value in 2020 is US 180 billion. The biggest value to the company is not the secret recipe of Coca-Cola. It is the brand value of the brand Coca-Cola. And what is that? Is the brand promise of good feeling, happiness, fun, spreading joy. Simplicity is key in building successful brands. How do you know you have a strong brand? I have a simple guideline for you. When your consumers could feel and believe that your promises are trustworthy, you have a strong brand. As simple as that.
Wow, I like your last sentence because it is sort of like consolidated into an easy sentence to remember. So you just now you mentioned the brand itself to you is a total experience, partly rational, mostly emotional from the consumer itself, and the key that goes down to whether or not consumer can feel the promise of the brand. In this case, I can see seems like there is a strong connections that that needs to be integrated with the target consumers. So how do you create like a brand relevance and strong connections that the target consumers actually feel our brand promise? Could you help us understand that perhaps with some examples?
Sure. Sure. I'd like to give you the example I could remember very well because it became a big idea for Nestle. It started during our market visit in 2003 in Manila, and many of you will know SM Mall. It's a famous SM Mall. And there, with my colleagues, we were standing and watching the shoppers choosing product from the shelf. There was one particular a lady that was buying growing up milk from the shelf, and she was picking up a needle growing up milk, looking at it and putting the can back on the shelf, and picking up a competitor's product, looking at it and putting in her basket, the shopping trolley. And then as she was walking away, we said, why don't we have a word with her? Because we can learn and have an understanding of the key consumer choice and how to turn that into an insight. So we approached her and she was smiling and we said, Madam, can you tell us why you pick up this Nestle Nido growing up milk and you put it back and then you pick the competitor's product and put it in your trolley? And she said, well, because my son only liked this product, this competitor's product. So we hold up the two cans for her and say, Madam, can we show you something? Look at the label. The label is very clear in terms of what are the ingredients on the label. And we say, look at this label on the needle and this label on the competitor's product. Who has more protein? Because it's shown on the label in terms of percentage and gram. And the mother said, the needle growing up milk have a higher level of protein. Then we said, which product on the label shows a higher percentage of sugar, more sugar? And the mother said, I see what you're trying to tell me. This competitor's product has more sugar than your product. I understand now. Your product has more protein and less sugar. Maybe that's why my son loves this competitor's product. I will change it now for the health of my son. And he took out the competitor's product and put in the needle growing up milk and went to the counter to pay. That is called the moment of truth. It's when a consumer take out the money and pay for your product. I also have something to share with you. In Nestle, we call this experience of highlighting more protein, less sugar. We call this romance the product truth. You need to romance the product truth. And we went back to the office and they were trying to make big presentation to us because we come from the head office, Switzerland. And we say, no, today, no big presentation. We will share with you our very interesting experience with a lady who was buying growing up milk. And we told them the story of Schumacher shopping mall, what this lady did. And guess what? That simple story became a campaign we started in the whole of Philippines, the whole of Asia, and globally, worldwide in Nestle, called Read the Label campaign. Read the label. We encourage the consumers to read the label take 2 cans of competitive product and read the label to see which product gives you higher protein, less sugar, more nutrition. And that is our read the label product. So remember simplicity. Tell it like it is. Tell it like it is. Simplicity. In 1993, to give you another example, in ASEAN countries, Maggi was having a fierce competition for market share with Knorr. And Knorr's product, you use a small spoon and you spoon out the powder and sprinkle on your prepared dishes. We decided to start a campaign called Made with Fresh Chicken. And we turned the powder into granules, little granule like Nescafe freeze-dried granules. And we showed the mnemonic of the mother or the chef or the cook sprinkling the granules onto the prepared dish. And then we use the mantra, you and Maggi make tastier meal. And guess what? Health is great. Taste is always better. And with more nutrition made from fresh chicken and with a greater taste preference, our market share in all countries in ASEAN started to shoot up, and we grew market share because of that campaign. And that, remember, is called Romance the Product Truth. Romance the product truth. And another important point is learn from your competitors. Know your competitors. Because in Nestle, we always say size makes arrogant. Do not be arrogant. Avoid this. Size make arrogant. You can learn from your competitors, big or small. There is a Chinese saying, 有竞争才有进步. 有竞争才有进步. Only when there are competition, you can have improvement and progress. Learn from that.
So Anthony, I definitely, I think the idea of simplicity around the brand promise and also read the label campaign, definitely, I think it makes a huge impression. So actually, this coincides with a little bit of our recent webinar with Professor Smith back last month. He saw that in his research, consumer-centric businesses are that actually, for example, like Nestle put consumer insight into their decision makings are perhaps twice more likely to have superior business performances. Is this similar to your experience?
I fully agree with Professor Smith and with the experience of vase.ai. In my view, you have to know your consumers, your target consumers deeply and clearly putting your consumer first in everything you do, and learn to leverage understanding of your consumers into insights to grow your brand. Let me share with you a very important word that we use a lot in Nestle called OBP. OBP stands for Ownable Brand Proposition. Ownable Brand Proposition, which means that you understand so well your key consumers that you are able to identify one deep insight from your key consumers, which is a human truth, and that will help you unlock doors to give you a big idea, a sweet spot. We call this OBP, Ownable Brand Proposition, that will help you to grow your brand. An OBP, Ownable Brand Proposition, is helping to bring to life your brand essence, your brand promise. Let me share with you some simple examples. Then it will bring to life what is this ownable brand proposition, big idea, sweet spot. In Manila, in the year 2003, when I was doing a focus group interview with my marketing team, we were inviting about 16 ladies to talk about product improvement on Nestle fitness cereals. Some of you would have come across Nestle fitness cereals. Well, they came a bit too early, 30 minutes ahead of time. So the Filipino ladies were having a good chat with one another. And we were doing nothing, enjoying our cup of Nescafe and just watching them. And guess what? A human truth from these key target consumers came to us as a deep insight. For 20 minutes, they were doing nothing but looking at each other's belly and tummy and talking about, wow, how do you manage to keep yourself, your tummy so slim and so fit? What did you do? What did you eat? What exercise do you do? A lot of focus for 20 minutes among the ladies' talk was on the tummy. And guess what? We told them, thank you very much. You have given us a deep consumer insight, which is a human truth. They are concerned and care for their tummy. So we started that into a campaign called 100 Days Challenge, Nestle Fitness cereal, and where we show a box and we show the picture of a lady slim figuring on the box, and we strip in the middle of the box, cut in the middle, and then use a see-through to show the cereals. So when the consumers see the nice tummy shape, they see our Nesfit fitness cereals, and then we started the 100 Days Challenge, how to keep a tummy slim and looking great. That is how we started, called ownable brand proposition, applying it to Nestle fitness cereal. Another example I'd like to give to you was in 1996 in Wuhan. I think the name rings a bell for you. Wuhan, China. At that time, we noticed some young people were buying Nescafe on the shelf. And we have nice shelves, Nescafe shelves, but they were moving the shelves around and taking out products from the back and putting it in front and pushing our products around. And we were wondering what they were doing, because Chinese consumers, when you're in China, you will realize they spend a lot of time reading the labels. They read everything on the labels, and then they put it down and they take away some jars and they put into their shopping bag, and they were walking towards the counter. So we approached them and asked them, can we ask you, what were you doing? Well, politely, we wanted to say you messed up our shelf, but what were you doing moving some products around and then picking some jars? And we discovered a human truth. They were not looking at expiry date that many of us FMCG company try to print on the back, expiry date. That is the last thing they are looking at. The first thing they were looking at was the production date. When did you make it? Did you make it yesterday, 2 days ago? Anything that is 100 days old, they don't want. It's too old already, because it's already considered a close expiry product. They want a freshly made product. So the moment of truth for us was they were looking at production date, not expiry date. And another example to highlight what is that human truth that you need to have a deep insight and you leverage from your target consumers that deep insight and you make it into a big idea, a sweet spot, or we call it in Nestle OBP, Ownable Brand Proposition, is in the year 2012. When I tell you the story, you will know the story very well. In 2012 in Shanghai, we were having discussion with Jack Ma Alibaba. And at that time, we remembered the Chinese government was trying to encourage young people who left their parents in the villages and in the hometown to go back once a year during Chinese New Year, go and see your parents. 回老家 is what the government's campaign was. 回老家，新年快乐，回老家。And without much success, not many youngsters went back to see their parents. So in 2012, at that time was November, we said, well, how many singles are there in China? And to our surprise, the age 20 and above, not married, guess what? 300 million singles. And 300 million target consumers. Wow, that is our dream. How do we reach 300 million target consumers? And we said, why don't we start something that is on 11 November, 双十一. 双十一 means double 11. So 11 of November became our Singles Day campaign called 双十一 double 11. And guess what? We said exactly what the government said. Go back home to your hometown and see your parents. But if you cannot go back once a year during Chinese New Year to see your parents, at least send them a gift using our e-commerce, Alibaba e-commerce. Send a gift to show you love your parents and you remember them during Chinese New Year. And this is a human truth that gave us a deep insight, a big idea, which became sweet spot, ownable brand proposition. And using e-commerce, we delivered a lot of products, which includes many, many products, including the Nestle products. And guess what was the e-commerce sales the first year of our campaign? In 2014, US 9.3 billion. US 9.3 billion. And the next year, it grew to 14.3 billion US dollars on Singles Day sales, 1 day sales. And in 2020, last year, the 双十一 1 day Singles Day sale in China was 30 billion US dollars, 30 billion US dollars.
Wow. Anthony, so you mentioned about the OBP, and thank you so much for the examples, right? Now as we are in the stage whereby, so during pandemic, for example, last year, it changes a lot of our consumer behaviors. And this year, as we're going to vaccinate, a lot of countries are going to vaccinations. And as a lot of companies also are planning for post-vaccinations, do you feel like the old marketing playbook per se is becoming obsolete? Do we need to redefine consumer expectations on what brand should stand for now that the consumer behavior are changing? What is your thought about this?
Yes, I believe the old marketing playbook is fast becoming obsolete. In 1960, if you recall the golden age of mass marketing, McCarthy launched the 4 Ps. You all remember that in your MBAs: product, price, place, promotion. But I can tell you today, with marketing and brand 2.0. Today, 2.0 version, we need the fifth P, people. People is becoming key to success. Today, millennials, Gen Y, Gen Z are redefining consumer expectations on what brand should stand for. Plus, technology today is becoming a game changer. More and more socially conscious young consumers are checking product labels like those in China. They read and turn upside down the labels. What are they checking? Apart from production date, they are checking and buying products from companies that create long-term societal values for community, for environment, for the planet. And according to research, Weber Sandwick research, they said over 85% of consumers in China are actually checking labels for societal value. They are checking whether the company is contributing to societal value. As you know, the new generation, they are looking for more natural things, authentic. They are looking for gourmet, ethically sound, environment friendly, responsible sourcing, and clearly is enabled by new technology today, which is becoming a game changer. Like e-commerce, the niches can be aggregated via geography, and they can scale up a niche business. And with inbound marketing and content marketing becoming king, it helps to build up the brand experience.
Thank you, Anthony. Due to the timing that we have, right? So we're going to jump a little bit into the Q&A session first. We have actually a couple of questions that already came in. So let me check this out. Okay, so we have a couple of questions, Anthony. So first one is from YY, who is in the marketing for FMCG brands. So the question is, Nestle is a big brand and has a lot of resources to invest in activities like the one you mentioned in Japan and so on, right? What do you think about smaller brands contribute or building brand in ways that perhaps have lesser resources?
I have never seen in my 39 years the best opportunity today in brand building at the lowest cost and at the highest impact today in brand building, because with content marketing and with inbound marketing, today you can do a lot of brand experience and build up brand promises which are very engaging and connecting with the consumers in very exciting way at a very low cost. So today, more than ever, compared to my 39 years, today with aided by e-commerce, aided by social media, by Google, WhatsApp, Twitter, by a lot of new marketing tools, you can do wonders at a very low cost, even for a low budget brand. And you can create a lot of excitement with consumers and connect with the consumers almost, I would say, live globally like we are doing right now, because many of our Zoom callers are calling from US, from Australia, from Africa region. And it shows to you we can connect with our consumers live at very, very low cost with new technology today.
Thank you. So to all the audience, now as we're going into the Q&A session, feel free to put a question in. Please note that we will be, because of the amount of questions that is coming in, we are choosing certain questions that are related to the topic. We'll try our best to cover as much as possible. And so looking forward to your questions. Anthony, we have another questions that talk about like from Jun Hong, who says that a lot of the examples that you mentioned just now are overseas examples. So we are curious that do you have any Malaysia kind of examples in Malaysia's that we can reference on as well?
Oh yes, certainly in Malaysia there are a lot of examples, and we can see even in a product like Milo, energy on the go, we are create a lot of engagement with consumers to connect with the brand to make it come alive. And the brand was introduced around 1951, and today it has become a household brand name. And many people can tell you stories about how their life has started perhaps 2 generations, 3 generations ago with a brand like Milo.
I think we are all super familiar with how when we are younger, when we were in primary school, how the Milo truck come to us. And since then, we were all just every day drinking Milo. We have another question from Trisha Lim. She asked that how does distributors play a role in brand building for Nestle? So we talk a lot about consumer just now. I'm wondering about the distributor roles.
The role of the distributor?
In brand building for Nestle, yeah.
Well, the distributors are very important partners for the brand because they are the ones that help to ensure supply in the marketplace. And it's important that we start by making sure that the brand custodian, brand champion is the CEO of the company or the CMO, the Chief Marketing Officer. It cannot be brand building, cannot be delegated to outsiders. It has to be owned and clearly communicated via a brand book. If you do not have a brand book, I will highly recommend you maintaining a brand book that contain detailed story about the brand. What is the brand story? What are the key visual properties? What are the promises of the brand, that is brand essence? What are the touch points of the brand? What do you expect to achieve out of each touch point? Example, packaging is a touch point. How do you design the brand and clearly indicate the type of Pantone colors you're going to use, the logo type, the typeface? All of this must be clearly spelled out in your brand book. The brand book is the one that is kept by the CMO and the COO, and that is the one used by distributors, used by advertising agencies, used by the marketing team to make sure that you stay online with the brand purpose, the brand vision, the brand promises, and you know your role in building the brand. So as distributors, you clearly are connected directly with ensuring supply of the product to the consumers, and often you get feedback also from the key consumers on whether the product or the company or the services of the company delivers the product promise. And from my experience, we have distributors who have become very good brand partners in giving us the feedback from the consumers about the brand, and we have leveraged that to grow our brands.
This coincides with another question that we see when you talk about like how distributors deliver the consumer feedback, right? The question is that the participants say that they can see that Nestle, based on a couple of your examples, just now relies a lot on data, market research, market visits you mentioned, and focus group, leading to like the OBP, like the new consumer insight that eventually drove the business growth, right? Is there any type of research that Nestle relies on more than the other types of research? Can you share with us about that?
Well, we use consumer research, we use market research, we use all kind of research. But as you have seen, one of the key things in Nestle is we encourage our senior managers and all our managers to walk the street, to make market visit a key part of their job. We don't want managers sitting around the office and playing with their computers. If we see them doing that, it's our job to chase them out of the office and go and walk the street, because we believe the consumer understanding insights come from connecting with the consumers. That's why from my example that you have heard from, many of the insights or ownable brand proposition, the sweet spot, the big ideas, all came from the consumers. So it's important that you go and visit the consumers and walk the street, and that is one important area. Talk to the consumers, and that is an important research. Another important one we do is we call our target consumers together. Very often, almost every week, we have different groups of people, because we have so many brands, and we would like to have focus group interview, which is a form of market research with the consumer, and we will ask them to give us their feedback as target consumers on the positive or the negative part of the brand. So we do not start to change our brand identity without checking with our target consumers, whether it is innovation, renovation, or even changing our communication or packaging. We do our market research by talking to our target consumers. And on top of that, every month we buy into AC Nielsen, we buy into many market research study that tracks the brand loyalty of our brand, how our consumers are rating brand loyalty, how do they perceive our brands, how do they see the market share of our brands, and we have market share report every month to see that we are growing versus competition in our market share. So we spend a lot of money on market research. And as Forbes recently said, investing in your brand is the best investment you can put behind your business. And I fully agree with him. And normally we put 16% of our PFME on a new product. Each time we launch a new product, we have a selling price calculation. We call it SPC. And that SPC will be signed by the CEO of the country, and only the CEO of the country. And you will make sure that you put behind at least 16% behind brand building on your new product. If not, we will not approve any launch of the new product. That's why in Nestle, our success rate of the new product launch is very high, because we put enough of market research and put enough of consumer research and enough of brand building money behind investing on the brand.
And wow, Anthony, actually we have more than 10 questions, but because of the timing, I will take two more questions in the meantime, we will be, to all the audience, thank you so much for your questions, right? I will work out with Anthony to see if you can answer all the other questions, but for now we will address two first. Before some of you go away, right? In the meantime, while Anthony is answering, we'll also show you a poll to help us understand what do you think about the webinar. Give us some your comments, and also what are the topics that you're interested to hear next. So in the meantime, while Anthony addressed that two questions, some of you can actually just answer that two questions really quickly. All right, okay, Anthony, back on. So one question is, how do Nestle rebrand a traditional brand to be more relevant to today's consumer while sticking to the brand value? This is a question from Amy.
All right. We go back again to our target consumers. I give you one specific example. Even though we build global brands, we connect with the local consumers. Like example, in Japan, when we launched our Kit Kat, which is a global brand, our global tagline is called have a break, have a Kit Kat. I'm sure you must have all heard about this worldwide. All over the world, we call it take a break, have a Kit Kat. And when we use that tagline, global tagline in Japan, we discovered that Japanese consumers don't even understand head or tail of that. And we said, well, then we better go back to our target consumers, which are university students or pre-U students sitting their entrance exam going into the universities in Japan. And we were hanging around them to see how they talk, how they interact, and so on. And we, through our observation, realized they were giving the Kit Kat product to each other and then say in Japanese, Kito Katsu. Kito Katsu. So we asked them, why are you saying Kito Katsu when you give this Kit Kat to your friends who are sitting the entrance exam? And they replied to us, Kito Katsu in Japanese means all success. I wish you all success. So we started a campaign called Kit Kat Kito Katsu. And with that campaign, guess what? The sales of Kit Kat went sky high because it is a way of wishing each other good luck with your entrance exam. Kit Kat Kito Katsu. Good luck and success to your entrance exam. So we continuously look for a modern way to grow the brand. Like example, you know Milo Energy on the go. In Japan today, if you look at the news today, we make the brand Milo an old brand very relevant to the young people by bringing the brand closer to touch points where young people are hanging around, spending time, whether at 7-Eleven or whether at bookshops or gyms, where they are, we bring the brand closer to them. So we start to serve starting yesterday Milo from Milo kiosks, which are close to gyms, close to places where young people are hanging around, making the brand more relevant to their touch point.
All right, down to our last questions. I'm going to say sorry upfront for the rest of questions that we cannot address. The last question is, so what do you think of co-branding partnership? What kind of roles does co-branding do to the involved brands?
I understand that co-branding means two person owns one brand or two brands existing together. Can you please clarify?
Okay, let me see if I get a quick one. Okay. Um, Unfortunately, there's no clarifications for now. How
Okay, so
about
let me build on that.
Mhm.
In Nestle, we don't use co-branding a lot
Mm.
because we have 2,000 over brands. We are not short of brands. So if we have, let's say, Nestle fitness cereals, we want to have another brand so that we can reach the target consumers of another 5 million people of that target consumer brand, like Milo. Then we use one of our other brand that will give us plus another 5 million connections. We have more than 2,000 brands, and we have a lot of brands that we do a co-branding or co-promotion together, but it's normally a Nestle brand. Uh, and we seldom use a third-party brand when we do that, because when you use a third-party brand and at the same time when you want to deliver to the consumer your promise made, promise kept, it's important that we deliver safety first. And when you have a product that we are not familiar with, we do not know the safety level of that product until our QA department or technical people have a chance to check it out. That's why in Nestle, we always say you have to build consumer trust. It's like when you throw out a baby in the air, 1 feet high, you throw out the baby. Is the baby crying or is the baby laughing? More often than not, the baby is laughing because the baby knows the baby is in safe hands when the baby comes down. So when you eat a Nestle product, we want you to know you are in safe hands, because product safety and quality is non-negotiable in Nestle, non-negotiable. And quality is the most important thing for us in building brand trust. And that's why we want to make sure that we have a co-branding with a brand we trust, we already know. It's seldom, and I'm not aware of, unless it's a non-food, a non-edible product.
Thank you. When you mentioned having the baby up high, I can vividly think about that. So thank you so much, Anthony. While I actually want to get some final, perhaps some 3 key actions from you. In the meantime, to all the audience, thank you so much for staying until this point. I see that most of you actually stay in. Thank you so much. I'm sorry that we ran out a little bit of time. Just to share, if any of you are interested in actually using research to be part of your understanding of human insights, consumer insights, and finding out your human truth, we actually have a trial going on. And if you would like to have a quick free demo, you can actually put in your interest at the link that we put in at the chats. Okay, so anyone who's interested, just go on there. Okay, Anthony, before we wrap this up, what would you say? 3 things for us that we should do now that we are in sort of like in this era.
Well, with 39 years behind me, I actually need 3 more hours to complete what I want to share with you. But since you asked me to wrap it up with 3 calls to action, here are my 3 calls to action to share with you so that you pay special attention to continue doing them or to start doing them. The first one, know your target consumers deeply, and from them understand a deep insight which you can make it into a big idea, a sweet spot, or we call in Nestle ownable brand proposition. So first key call to action, know your target consumers deeply, and from your target consumers, uncover a deep insight that will become a big idea, a sweet spot, an ownable brand proposition to grow your brands. Number two, inspire with purpose and deliver your brand promise. Number two, inspire with purpose and deliver your brand promise. And number three, keep satisfying real consumer needs and build their trust. Number three, keep satisfying real consumer needs and build their trust. As you know, in these turbulent times, people need more trusted brands from responsible, purpose-led companies. So can your target consumers count on you? Can your target consumers count on your brand? Can your target consumers count on your company to do this for them? Take care, stay safe, stay strong.
Thank you, Anthony. On behalf of all the audiences, we actually want to say thank you so much for being so generous with your insights. Although we only have 1 hour plus, we certainly learn of our key insights. Thank you, all the audiences. Thank you for coming and staying all the way through. That is it for today's sessions.
Thank you to each of you. God bless each of you.
Yes. Goodbye.